Americans are dreamers too. And I wanna sing
Now, Shelley Winter.
lift every voice and say,
It's an interesting case coming out of Florida. Another case of governmental control over parents and the way parents raise their children. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I understand kids being protected. I understand all of that. But look, first, let me explain the story. So there are two parents, mother and a dad, and Joshua McAdams, Taylor Bland Ball, their mother and her father. Their son was diagnosed April 4th. Noah is his name. Noah was diagnosed April 4th with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, a cancer of the blood and bone marrow. So the parents said the boy underwent 2 rounds of chemo at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg last month. And they stopped the treatment because they were worried about the side effects. They said the kid was sleepy, he had tremendous mood swings, and they just didn't like what was going on with the side effects of the chemo. So they didn't want to do it anymore. So they took him to another state to undergo alternative treatments. Their rights, their parents. And so the government, the state government, the child protective investigators, when he didn't show up for when the parents misscheduled treatments at All Children's Hospital and disappeared with their son in late April, children protective investigators obtained a court order to take Noah into custody. And check this. The Hillsborough, County Sheriff's Office put out an endangered child alert for the boy on April 29th. Saying the parents refused to follow up with life-saving medical care that their child needs. So these parents were not trying to kill their child. The parents had made a decision that they did not like the chemo. They did not like the side effects of the chemotherapy on their child. It's their child. They gave birth to this child. The government then steps in and says, no, you missed treatments. We're going to call the sheriff's department and essentially put out a warrant for your arrest. Later that day, authorities in Kentucky tracked the family down and took them into custody. The parents said they were on their way to Cincinnati to consult with a doctor, not trying to flee Florida. They were looking for alternative treatments for their child. And there's plenty of them out there. So they proceeded. That's what they were doing. They weren't fleeing the state. They weren't snatching the kid up. They weren't kidnapping their own child. But this is crazy to me because when the parents didn't come back for treatment, the hospital alerted the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department then put out basically a bolo on these parents and claimed that the child was endangered. And so when they pulled him over and took him into custody, I'm thinking to myself, man, so you can't even do what you want for your child's own health? You can't. Now, this is not one of those cases like measles or chicken pox where you're endangering other children. This is their child who has a disease that they deem a best way to care for the child is maybe an alternative therapy. Whether the alternative therapy works or not is on the parents. If their child, unfortunately, God bless the child. I hope this doesn't happen. But if the child happens to pass away and the parents took a chance on alternative treatments, then that's on the parents to live with. We have no business in this family's lives. And the government has no business in infringing itself, saying that you have to do what we're telling you to do. And this is crazy to me. And this is one of those cases that I look at and I say, this is where we are in this country right now. And this is not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is a freedom issue. Either I have the freedom to raise my children, or parents have the freedom to raise their children the way in which they deem fit, or they don't. You can't on the one hand tell me it's her body, it's a woman's choice. She can abort the fetus if she like, and then tell me it's the government that can tell you how to raise that child once it comes out. I would think it would be the opposite. I would think it would be the government telling you that, hey, you got to protect the fetus. We can't kill the fetus. The government should be able to tell you that. And then when the baby comes out, the parents can do whatever they want, as long as they don't harm the child. But this is not harming a child. This is seeking alternative treatment. Who says that because you're a doctor, your treatment is the only treatment? Chemotherapy is the only treatment? I know a lot of people who are doing alternative treatments for cancer. There are a lot of alternative treatments out there. And people are taking a chance of doing what they think it's best for them. That's freedom. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, I mean, everyone should have that choice. The government should not be able to come in and tell you how to raise your child. Because where does it end? Literally, where does it end? You have to send your child to this school. Oh, wait, they already do that. You mean I can't send my child to the school over there that's better? No, we'll arrest you if you put down a false address to send your child over there. Wow, that's already going on. You mean I've got to inject my child with this vaccine that the government tells me I have to 20 times until they're 18? Yes, you have to. Or what? Or I'll be shamed. Or what? Or I'll be arrested. Or what? My child can't go to school. The government's already doing that. I mean, what more? So why doesn't the government inject itself into parents in the way in which they raise their children? Why don't they just do it on everything? Hey, government says if your kid is in 5th grade and he's getting poor grades, he can't listen to hip-hop. Why can't the government do that? Why can't the government step in and say, hey, you going to church or house of worship every Sunday or Saturday, depending on your faith belief? No, you better take your child. We'll arrest you. Why can't the government do that? Should be able to do that. Should be able to take care of the soul of a child. If it's going to take care of the health of a child, why not take care of the soul? The eternal soul of a child. This is ridiculous. And we don't fight back against these things. We see these things, oh, it's not my parents. It's not my child. These are the issues that we need to fight. These are the issues we fight, not as Democrats, not as Republicans. We should be fighting these issues as a basic principle of freedom. If a woman is going to argue that she has a right to abort a life form in her body because it's her choice, and the government should stay out of her body, then those same people should be rallying around these parents on what to do with the health care of their child. It's cut and dry. And if the people who believe that the fetus starts life at 6 weeks and should be protected by the government should be protecting this child and the parents to do what it needs to do or do what the parents want to do in order to protect the child. The parents feel that the treatment that they want to look for their child is the best treatment. They should be allowed to do that. The government has no right to step in here and do what it's done. And this is just, again, the overreach of government. And we allow it every day. It slowly encroaches on us. It slowly creeps up on us, and we say nothing. We just wave our hands and we say, oh, it's just another story in the news. These are the stories that count. These are the stories that should bring us together as Americans. These are the stories that we should pay attention to, because these are the stories that start government encroachment on our lives that we'll never return from. We'll never be able to back down. Once you allow a government entity, a hospital, to call a sheriff's department in one state to track down the parents who are taking their child to get alternative treatment in another state, and you allow that to happen and parents to be brought into custody, hauled back into the original state, hauled before a judge, all to have the parents be told how and the way in which their health needs for their child should be done, not based on what they want, but based on what the medical establishment wants. That is slavery. Not the slavery that you're thinking. I'm not comparing anything to that slavery. I'm saying that is government slavery, and that's bad. That's evil. That's despicable. It's the Shelley Winter Show on the New Talk 106.7. It's time to go to the Haviland Express Lube Traffic Center with my boy, Matthew Dorr.
With a car fire.